All people in their lives strive for some dream or goal, for example, to become rich, influential, or to comprehend the truth and meaning of life. But some people are not like everyone else. This man wanted to be strong. This desire for strength remained with him even in his second life. In this fight, we see one man fighting against a large crowd. They shout at him, asking if he knows who they are. The men got tired of the boy's strange movements and decided to attack him all at once. However, he manages to avoid being surrounded by them and uses a special fighting technique called capoeira. He managed to knock one of the men down. The remaining men decide to team up and attack him, thinking that he will not withstand their attack. But he surprises them with a series of kicks using basic Taekwondo techniques. One of the men insults him, calling him an insolent boy and telling him to prepare to die by an axe. But instead, the boy uses another capoeira kicking technique and defeats all his attackers. He laughs at them and asks if it was the best they could do. One of the men complains that the unknown fighter is keeping them at a distance with his strange movements. The boy tells him to shut up and accuses them of starting the fight when he was just minding his own business. He attacks them again and warns them that they are all in big trouble. They are very scared and decide to run away because they think he is a demon. Their leader beats one of his own as he tries to escape and calls him a worthless man. The leader then tells the young man that his skills are just tricks and tricks, but he cannot defeat a real master with these dirty tricks. The leader explains that the strength of a true master depends on how he uses his inner energy. He wants to show the boy how it's done. So the leader attacks the boy and challenges him to try to block his movement with his monkey jumps. But the boy uses his boxing and cross-punching techniques and punches the leader right in the face. The young man asks the leader what he was talking about all this time. A boxing ring appears in his memory, where two boxers are fighting, and the audience applauds loudly and expresses their delight. The announcer announces that Master Perfect Kang Sang-hyuk is back with a powerful cross-counter, a punch that lands straight at challenger Daro Anteo Anto. Daro Anteo Anto is knocked out, and the commentator states that Master Perfect has won again, with a record of 432 victories and 18 defeats. They announce the champion's name, Kang Sang-hyuk. They wonder who can stop this incredible winning streak. The reporter congratulates Khan and says that he has overcome false news that his health is deteriorating. He defended his title again. The reporter asks that Khan mentioned in a previous interview that he had something to say. "Tell me, after this match you will leave, is it true?" Khan confirms this, saying that it is true. Kang then tells them that this match will be the last of his career. All the reporters are surprised and ask if there is a reason for this sudden decision. Another reporter wonders whether Khan's selection is related to rumors about his deteriorating health. Khan tells them it's true. When asked about his health problems, Khan explains that he has serious health problems. Champion Kang's manager, who is sitting next to him, asks the reporters to let him explain everything. The manager explains that long matches and intense training caused Khan's body to rapidly deteriorate. Reporters understand this, noting that Khan has been involved in the sport for 30 years and competes in very difficult mixed martial arts competitions. Khan holds the record as the longest-serving champion, and everyone is wondering if this is the end of Mr. Perfect. The manager then announces that due to Champion Kang's health, they will end the interview here. Khan thinks to himself of Mr. Perfect, a nickname he earned after becoming a legendary figure in the world of mixed martial arts. From early childhood, he demonstrated incredible success in martial arts. He has trained in many martial arts such as boxing, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, wrestling, and many more. Khan became a champion just 3 years after he began his mixed martial arts career. He was unbeatable, with an amazing winning streak and many records. But now Khan has been involved in the sport for more than 30 years, and he has to accept it. He defeated everyone in the ring, but time defeated him. He is seriously and incurably ill. The treatment will take a long time and the result is unknown. Khan's heart wants to continue fighting, but his body can't keep up. Fate has robbed Khan of any reason to continue living, and he wonders what he has left. Khan has always been lonely in life, and it looks like he will remain lonely in death. There is no point in living any further. Isn't it better to die now invincible and in the rays of glory? The light is fading. A century of lawlessness, chaos, and endless wars. The Jun Kingdom spread across the continent and fought with those around it. Even though the Jun Kingdom was not as strong as some other major countries, it was very resilient. This was due to the technique of spiritual development that came from India and was taught by Bodhidharma. They combined this with fighting skills to create martial arts. Other countries often tried to control and suppress groups that practiced these martial arts, called Murim schools or sects. But the king of the kingdom, Junju-san, saw that these Murim sects had valuable power. It could help them win wars. Therefore he supported and protected them. Ju Sang's successor, Ju Sung, continued to help them. He even made an agreement that the royal family and the Murim sects would not attack each other after the continent was unified. Eventually, the Jun kingdom became the most powerful. This marked the beginning of the golden age of the Murim sects. However, from time to time, conflicts arose between the traditional sects and the demon cult, which was supported by the dominant religion of the time, the White Lotus. This led to a cycle of good and bad times throughout history. The boy learns all this from a book called Juge Jin Book 2. He closes the book. He finds Murim's history very interesting, especially the one called martial arts. The cleaning lady then comes in and asks the boy Yan White if he is here again. She reminds him that they can't let him sneak in all the time because the king will be upset. Young says he's really sorry and thought it might be awkward for the woman. The woman tells Young that this is her job and asks him to let her know in advance next time. Young agrees and says he understands. The woman asks Young where he's going now, and he says he's going to play again today. Young mentions that he might be back a little late. The lady reminds him to come home before dinner. Young assures her not to worry and runs away. The woman watches him leave and comments on why boys his age have so much energy. She adds that every time Young leaves, she worries that he might get into trouble. The man nearby agrees with her, saying that he is also worried. In fact, he thinks that the young master from the Golden Tiger Wall will be worth a lot of money, so he hopes that no one else will have time to kidnap the boy. Young reaches the jungle and begins doing stretching exercises. After a while, he decides that this is enough and begins to practice boxing techniques. The voices repeat the words, Mr. Perfect, #1 in the world and the strongest man in the world. His opponent arrives and everyone wonders what match they will see today. The battle begins. Yan's opponent launches a high attack, but Yan easily dodges it. He plans to measure the distance with low kicks and wait for the right moment. However, the enemy uses a cunning move. Young at first thinks it's a tackle, but then realizes it's a trick. Yan continues to practice his moves, punching and kicking into the air among the trees. The man who has been watching Yan from afar wonders what Yan is doing alone. Young continues to train, and when he kicks the tree, it splits in two. Young is amazed by the incredible power of martial arts, especially considering that he is only 9 years old. In his thoughts, Young reflects that 9 years have passed since he was reborn. In this world of Murima, with memories of his past life, he wonders if this world is a dream or reality, and whether the person he was in the past is his true self, or who he is now. Young believes that he was lucky to be reborn in Murim, because in his previous life, he could not fulfill all his desires due to the laws and rules of decency that existed there. Murim is a universe where issues of life and death are resolved with the help of force. Nothing holds him back here. He will once again make a name for himself that will rock the world, this time with his modern martial arts. The man who was watching Yan is shocked and exclaims that it is impossible for a child to have such power. Young comes closer and notices that it looks like he had an observer. He then asks the man why he was secretly watching him, and he replies that the boy's father ordered him to monitor his son's safety. Yan then mentions that he thinks the man saw all of the training Yan did. The man apologizes for this. Young thinks to himself that the situation is not good. He is worried about what might happen if his father finds out about this. Young's father is the leader of the Golden Tiger Wall, one of the 10 largest business clans, with a lot of power in the Central Plains business scene. Although they rank last among these clans, they have a good reputation for their generosity and adherence to the dominant religion. Leader Yan Jaeho had 2 daughters from his only wife and a son named Yan White. Leader Jaeho asks his son Yan if it's true that he practices martial arts, which is practiced by bandits and rabble. Yan denies it, saying it wasn't him. However, his father gets angry and wonders if Yan would dare to lie. He tells Yan that he heard about him rolling on the floor and practicing punches and kicks. The father asks if this is the kind of martial arts that random street thugs use. Young responds by saying that these are advanced techniques that will soon be called by his name, and he learned them from a certain master. Dad tells Young that if he's going to lie, at least make it believable. Young is disappointed that his father didn't believe him. His father tells Yan to stop talking nonsense, and says that if Yan wants to study martial arts, he should do it like an aristocrat, not a beggar. He suggests finding Yan a good master, and even mentions the nearby Manhwa school. He asks if Young wants to become a novice there. Young refuses, saying he doesn't want to. He adds that the martial arts he learned are amazing and advanced, no worse than what they have. The father's anger flares when he demands an explanation from Young for his seemingly absurd position. He cannot understand this sudden change in Young, who has always been an obedient son. In response, Father states that he will send Yang to Manhwa sect in 10 days and will not tolerate any objections. However, Yang has a proposal. He asks his father about the real reason he was sent to the Hua Mountain sect. He suspects that his father has acquaintances. Yang proposes a bet. Father must find a martial artist from Mount Hua to come and fight him, and then the father will see that his son has nothing to learn at school. If Yan loses, he vows to obey his father's orders without question. On the other hand, if he emerges victorious, the father will not interfere with his studies. The father, with a sly smile, agrees to this bet, believing that he has caught his son in a trap. They give each other their word as men and seal the deal. But Young realizes that his father has more on his mind than meets the eye. The father notices Young's determination, but believes that there is no way Young can win. His opponent will be none other than the disciple of Ki Hyukdo, the first elder of the Hua Mountain sect, known as the Plum Blossom Warrior. This fighter is very strong in battle, almost on par with a top-notch fighter. A girl attacks a boy, and there is not the slightest fear on her face, but only confidence in victory. Despite her efforts, the boy skillfully parries her attacks, calling them the Mount Hua cross block. She decided that she did not put in enough effort, and decides to make every effort. The girl uses the stab fighting technique, and the boy uses the 6-step sword. She decisively defeats him, and he praises her for getting stronger every day. He even suggests that it may soon become the first bud of Mount Hua. Grateful for his support, girlfriend Kang Yunhua promises to work even harder. Their teacher, watching from the sidelines, admires Yunhua's talent, his personality, and he briefly wonders what it would be like to have a daughter. Ki Hyukdo, the Plum Blossom Warrior, the first elder of the Hua Mountain School, devoted his whole life to cultivating talents and did not find time for marriage and relationships. Hyukdo shares the news that an old friend has invited them to his home. Yunhua is very excited and asks if she can have sweets there. Hyukdo assures her that it won't be just sweets. There will be a lot of other delicious food. Yunhua's eyes light up as she wonders if there will be more dumplings. She is completely ready for this. Hyukdo chuckles and agrees that there will be dumplings, but also mentions that there is one condition. Hyukdo explains that his friend's son, around the same age as Yunhua, is learning some strange and low-grade martial arts. The friend is worried and wants Yunhua to teach his son a lesson and convince him to stop studying martial arts this time around. Hyukdo asks Yunhua if she can do it. Yunhua enthusiastically agrees, saying that he will teach him a lesson. Several days have passed, and the people at the Golden Tiger Wall training ground are discussing the upcoming battle with the Mount Hua sect disciple. Concerns arise about Yang's chances. It is rumored that his opponent is an aspiring martial artist from the Mount Hua sect. Young's father silently believes that Young needs a major setback to bring him to his senses. Hyukdo arrives with Yunhua and apologizes for the wait. Father Young asks if their accommodation was suitable last night. Hyukdo expresses gratitude for the hospitality. Yunhua also thanks Young's father for his hospitality. Young is outraged that he is being asked to fight a child. Young's father reminds him that he is a child too. The father suggests starting sparring, now that the introductions are complete. Hyukdo agrees and asks Father Yon to take a seat in the audience. He clarifies that since this is a competition, and not a fight to the death, the swords will be wooden. It is strictly forbidden to inflict serious injuries on the enemy. The moment one of them admits defeat or falls unconscious, the other will be declared the winner. Hyukdo assures that if they feel there is a risk of serious injury, they will stop the match immediately. Having established the rules, Hyukdo announces the start of the match between Young Huitai and Kang Yunhua. Yunhua introduces herself as Mount Hua sect's 4th-ranked novice, Kang Yunhua. She explains that she will use the 6-sword combination technique. Yon introduces himself as Yon Huitai and strikes a strange pose. Yunhua wonders about Young's strange posture and behavior. She believes that in a training match, it is customary to represent one's sect and martial art, and decides that her opponent is too arrogant. In response, Yunhua decides to try his best and win. Yon expects her attack. Yunhua uses his 6-sword combination technique, and Yon doesn't use anything. He just goes ahead. Yunhua, however, finds Young's approach pathetic, seeing him as a child without strategy or calculated movements. She believes that victory is in her hands. As they begin to wrestle, Yon puts his wrestling skills to use and quickly defeats Yunhua on his first try. Takedown. And no wooden sword will help here. The enemy is fast and strong. Young's father, Teacher Hyukdo, and other spectators are amazed at such a quick and convincing victory. They've never seen anything like this. Yunhua protests, claiming that this is not martial arts, but street fighting. Yon counters by saying that winning is all that matters in a fight. Mr. Perfect is not just a champion. He established a remarkable record, winning in all weight categories. from the lightest to the heaviest, one after another. His secret to success lies in the ability to exploit his opponent's weaknesses. During the fight, Yeon hits Yunhwa with a powerful blow, leaving a dent in the ground. Yeon feels like a winner, but his father screams that the brat ruined the fight, and now he's talking about victory. Young is confused and asks if he really messed up. He explains that he stopped the fight because his opponent could not move and would have been seriously injured. However, his father scolds him, stating that what he was doing was not martial art, but a street fight. Young asks why that's bad. He trains and achieves enlightenment. This is martial art. Young gives his father a headache. Hecto thinks the boy is right about something. It's amazing that Young can control his internal energy so well at such a young age. But as a martial artist, Hyukdo cannot consider what they are doing to be a real fight. Hyukdo talks to Yeon and says that his fighting is no different from the martial arts of the demonic sex. Hyukdo tells Yeon that martial arts is not just about becoming strong. They are also about being noble and improving your mind and body. But Yeon asks Hyukdo, what is the difference between the invincible demon, a master of traditional martial arts, whose fame spread decades ago, and the king of eccentricity and nobility, who came from a demonic sect but fights nobly and honestly? This confuses Hyukdo, and he asks Yeon what he just said. 80 years ago, there lived an experienced and respected martial artist named Invincible Demon Bang Seong, who was a member of an ordinary martial arts group. Later, he discovered the abyss of evil within himself. He learned some forbidden and evil ways of fighting and used them to kill many people. These forbidden paths were also in a secret book that talked about how to control your bad desires and become a better person. But Pansong misunderstood this, and this made his evil desires even worse. Thus, he became the greatest villain of his age. And the king of eccentricities and nobility, Pyok Yomwi, has always enjoyed people's love. He is the leader of a street group. He wants to become super strong in martial arts and become one of the top 100 martial artists. Strict laws reign in his group. Young asks Hyukdo if learning the rules of martial arts makes you normal. Hyukdo believes that Yeon's words make sense. He wonders if he was unfair in his thoughts all this time. He believed that people who follow strange paths seek only power, while those who follow the right paths are aimed at self-improvement and maintaining honor. But now he's not so sure. Young is puzzled by how seriously Hyukdo is taking this. He assumes that everyone has their own likes and dislikes. Suddenly, Hyukdo receives enlightenment. A blue glow surrounds him. Someone congratulates him and says it's great for their martial arts group. But Hyukdo downplays it, saying it's not that big of a deal. He just realized that he still had to study and study if the boy could do it in a dispute. Young finds it a bit corny, like in teen mangas. He wonders how Hyukdo achieved enlightenment because of what he said. Hyun then asks Hyukdo that he won their sparring anyway, right? Hyukdo hesitates a bit but then agrees. Young excitedly tells his father that he won the bet. Father Young gets upset because he firmly believes in keeping promises. Hyukdo turns to Yeon and thanks him, saying that he gained enlightenment thanks to Yeon. Hyukdo then asks if Yeon is ready to fight him. Young gets a little annoyed and asks if this is really necessary. But his father scolds him, saying that this is a very rare opportunity. He tells Young that he will be able to see the incredible martial arts of the Manhwa sect up close. Hyukdo adds a condition, and says that if he is satisfied with their fight, he will reward Yeon. Young is surprised and asks what the reward is. Hyukdo explains that it appears that Yeon has only learned one specific technique, but if he is happy with their fight, he will help Yeon learn any other martial arts technique he wants. Young is excited and asks if Hyukdo will really help him learn any technique he chooses. Hyukdo confirms this, but says it depends on how their fight goes. Then Young adds something else. He asks what will happen if he defeats Hyukdo. Hyukdo deep down thinks that for a child who is not yet 10 years old, this is very self-confident. But he still agrees and adds that if Yeon defeats him, he will be indebted to Yeon. In his thoughts, Young realizes that this is a great opportunity. He can learn a new technique, and the powerful elder from the Hua Mountain sect owes him. He notices Yunhwa and feels a little sorry for her. Hyukdo prepares to fight and asks Yeon if he is ready. Young takes an unusual pose and confirms it. The battle begins. Both fighters appear unusually still, unlike the previous match. The atmosphere became quite serious. Yeon admits that Hyukdo is truly a formidable martial artist, as he senses Hyukdo's inner strength and sees his aura. He decides that he must somehow get into close combat. Contemplating whether he should feign an attack and then retreat, Young concludes that such a half-hearted maneuver will not work. He needs to cross the boundaries of the enemy's aura. He understands that weaker fighters often win by taking some damage in order to land a more powerful blow. Hyukdo is surprised and thinks, wow, can Young really see the boundaries of my aura? Hyukdo decides to scare Young a little, and increases the aura. Young is shocked, and says that this is impossible because the aura is increasing. Hyukdo tells Yeon that if he's just going to stand around and be afraid, he should give up and become a kid again. Hyukdo even tries to hit Yeon with the weapon, but Yeon continues to dodge. Hyukdo notes that Young's footwork is quite interesting. Young moves unpredictably and anticipates Hyukdo's attacks. Young realizes that Hyukdo doesn't take him easy just because he's young. Hyukdo uses both real and fake moves and puts a lot of aggression into them. Young believes that if he keeps moving like this, he might find an opportunity to attack. So Young gets down and says, "This is it," and tries to hit Hyukdo. But there is a sword in the way of his hand, which blocks his blow, and the boy hangs on it. He's in a lot of pain, but he doesn't make a sound. Hyukdo admits that if Yeon continues to improve, he will become incredibly skilled. He feels the need to teach Young a lesson of failure, to help him grow. But then suddenly Yeon grabs Hyukdo's hand, saying that it's his turn. And he wants to answer with dignity. He uses wrestling techniques. Hyukdo realizes that Young is willing to sacrifice a little in order to deliver a powerful blow. Young's father notices this strange technique again. Young uses a jujitsu technique called the elbow punch. Yeon realizes that he caught Hyukdo with this move, no matter how experienced Hyukdo is. Once trapped in this submission hold, it will be difficult to escape. Hyukdo pushes Young hard with his hand, and Young wonders how strong Hyukdo's inner strength is. Hyukdo then picks up Yeon and throws him to the ground with force. Help, the child is being killed. That's the last thing Yeon thought. Young passes out and later wakes up in his bed. His body is bandaged and he is in pain. Young realizes that he has lost the fight. Although it is disappointing, Young believes that the experience has brought him some benefit. He believes that everyone has moments of victory and defeat in life. Even if you're upset about losing, you shouldn't give up. Someone outside the room announces that Young is finally awake, and they enter. This is Hyukdo. Hyukdo asks Young how he felt. Young asks, "How does it feel?" Hyukdo says, "Losing for the first time in your life is pretty bittersweet, right?" Young replies that this is not the first time he has lost. Hyukdo asks, "Oh really?" He didn't expect to find such an experienced guy like Yeon in this field. Hyukdo tells Yeon that if he intends to follow his own path in martial arts, he has some options. Hyukdo then asks Yeon if he is training to become stronger or just wants the excitement of battle. Young replies that he just wants to enjoy the fight. He believes that it is more effective to try to improve existing martial arts instead of learning completely new ones. Hyukdo asks why Yeon then avoids studying existing martial arts. He notes that these different martial arts have their own strengths. Hyukdo asks Yeon if he is willing to give up these benefits. Young realizes that Hyukdo is right. Young believes that he was stubborn by ignoring well-developed martial arts in this world and adheres to the modern martial arts of his previous life. He realizes that criticizing Elder Ki Hyukdo before the fight was a contradiction. Hyukdo finds Yeon truly charming, as he seems to gain enlightenment himself. Hyukdo is excited to see how much stronger Yeon will become the next time they meet. He wishes Young all the best until they meet again. Young stands up and thanks Hyukdo. Hyukdo invites Yeon to visit Mount Hwa next time, and Yeon agrees, saying that he will do it. Hyukdo then leaves. 10 years later. During this time, the youngest master of the Golden Tiger Wall had grown into a respected teenager. Young goes outside and realizes that it is so bright, perhaps because he has not been out in the sunlight for a long time. He did not expect his isolated training to last so long, but during this time he managed to reach the highest peak level. After that fight with the school masters, Hwa Young was able to break free from his father's control. He continued to practice modern martial arts and work on improving his internal energy. Young just finished a whole year of training in isolation and returned home. He goes to his father, who is drinking tea, and says that he has returned. His father asks if he's really back, and Yeon confirms it. His father tells him to get out of the estate. This is unexpected for Yeon. His father wonders how long Yeon plans to continue training without doing anything else. He thinks that now that Young is older and stronger, he should explore the world and travel. And deep down, his father hopes that his son will get married. Young explains that he wants to continue training to become even stronger in case he encounters unforeseen circumstances. He is afraid of encountering groups of martial artists while traveling. Young's father hits him on the head in frustration and asks if he's joking. He wonders why martial artists travel in groups. He believes that once Yeon reaches the highest peak level, he will be respected no matter where he is. He tells Yeon to visit his sister from the Nangong clan and introduce himself to her relatives as a first step. The Sword Emperor Nangong Jocheon resides there and can accept his request for a duel. Yeon agrees. He orders Young to leave the next day. Young is surprised and asks if he really has to leave tomorrow. The next morning, Yan informs his family and everyone at the Golden Tiger Wall that they won't be able to see him for a while. He assures them that he will send updates from time to time. Everyone advises him not to forget to eat on time and, if necessary, to use a carrier pigeon. They ask him to take care of himself. Traveling around Jianghu is something that Yang has never tried in his previous life. There are many strong people in Murim, and they should wait for Yeon. He believes that he will soon become the strongest man in Murim. Yeon has a special glove that turns into a blade when he activates it. He was a little worried because he asked for this equipment himself, but it works fine. While in the forest, Young looks around and says that he has finally gone on the trip he dreamed of to Jinaga. Really quiet, and he has a thought. He decides to fly and flies high into the sky, wondering if he should go faster. When he reaches the entrance to the city, a long line of people is waiting for him. One man in line wonders why there is such a long line outside the small town. He thinks that if he knew Qinggong, he could fly in and skip the line. The man behind him tells him to be realistic, saying that people can't really fly. At that moment, they see Yang flying towards the entrance and landing on the ground. Yang notes that Qinggong is really useful and asks where he is. The man explains that it is one of the 3 largest cities in Henan province. Yang asks how to get to Anhui province, and the man advises him to go to Luoyang. He suggests that if Yang is not in a hurry, he should stay here for a while and enjoy a good meal at an inn that is known for its delicious dishes. The man suggests to Yang, "How about we give it a try?" Yang responds by saying that he will stay here today, and thanks the man for the information. The man expresses his gratitude to Yang for showing them the amazing sight. 2 men nearby ask each other if they saw this. One of them confirms this, saying that it is quite obvious from what Yang is wearing. The man tells the other that their leader will really like this. In a tavern, 3 men chat while enjoying their meal. One of them asks the others if they have heard of someone called the Tyrant in Phantom Armor, King Mu Ki-yun. The second man replies, "Of course, Mu is one of the top 100 martial artists." The first person agrees and asks if they know about Ku. He explains that the Phantom Armor Tyrant King's disciple must visit the Nangong clan. The third person asks about the purpose of the visit. The first person reveals that the Phantom Armor Tyrant King owes a huge debt to the Sword Emperor, Sir Nangong Jucheon. That's why he sends his disciple to bring him the gift. As a result, the Nangong clan prepares a formal reception for the disciple. Yang overhears their conversation. While chewing his food, Yan wonders if the Phantom Armor Tyrant King's disciple is also heading to the Nangong clan. He thinks that if things go well, he will be able to see the Phantom Armor Tyrant King's martial arts. Suddenly, troublemakers arrive at the inn and demand that a path be cleared for them. The 3 men who were talking earlier wonder why these troublemakers are here and decide to run away to avoid any trouble. The troublemakers start kicking the door and breaking it down. Their leader, Kwang Suak, announces that the Dark Heaven sect will take control of the inn from now on. He assures everyone that if they cooperate, nothing bad will happen. People are wondering why a supreme martial artist is in such a place. Guan calms them down, saying that they are here to meet the disciple of the Phantom Armor Tyrant King. Some men wonder if the disciple of the Tyrant King in the Phantom Armor is really here. Yan thinks to himself that he doesn't know who the disciple of the Tyrant King of the Phantom Armor is, but he will be in trouble because these troublemakers are after him. Quan approaches Yan and calls him the disciple of the Tyrant King in Phantom Armor, asking him to come with them. Yan is so surprised that he spills the water he was drinking. He tells Guang that he is not the disciple of the Tyrant King of the Phantom Armor. Quan insists that Yan shouldn't pretend not to know and says that it would be stupid not to recognize him in that armor. Quan convinces Yan not to worry, promising to spare his life if he gives up the gift meant for the Nangong clan. Quan thinks to himself that by taking the elixir of Heaven's Ascension, a gift that Yan possesses, he will reach the level of Supreme Peak. Then this region will belong to Kwang. Young realizes that talking to Quan and his men probably won't work because they seem stubborn. So Young decides he has no other choice. He gets up and starts to leave. One of Quan's men tells Quan that Yan is trying to escape. Quan asks if Young really looks like he's running away. Young looks back at them and invites them to come with him. They find themselves in a place among the trees. Quan tells Yan that it is not too late and asks him to give the elixir of ascension to heaven. Yan yells at Quan to shut up and insists that he is not the disciple of the Tyrant King of the Phantom Armor and attacks. This angers Quan, and he asks Young if he even knows who he is dealing with. Quan threatens to kill Yan because it seems like Yan wants to die. Quan attacks Yan with all his might, telling him to die. But Yeon manages to dodge the attack and counters with a powerful blow using the spin kick. Back elbow technique. Kwon is thrown into a tree, breaking it on impact. Kwon's men are shocked and wonder how Yeon could send a supreme martial artist flying with just one blow. Young yells at Kwon's men and asks what they are looking at. He warns them that they are in trouble too. The men start screaming at each other, telling each other to run away because they think the Tyrant King's disciple in the phantom armor is causing chaos. The next day, the two men are talking again at the hotel. One of them wonders what happened to the disciple of the Tyrant King of the phantom armor yesterday. The other guy says he's curious too. The first man explains that since Yeon was taken away by first martial artist Invincible Single Shield and his followers, he doubts that Yeon escaped without getting hurt. Another man suggests telling the authorities, although it is too late. He feels sorry that a young man like Yeon became a victim. The first man asks what if they face retribution when the troublemakers find out. They may get hurt if they find themselves in such a situation. Suddenly a man enters the hotel and shouts, "Big news." The men ask him what happened, and he informs them that the invincible Solitary Shield and his group were defeated by the disciple of the Tyrant King of the Phantom Armor. The man adds that what is even more amazing is that they are all alive, but their energy has been destroyed. People wonder if this is even possible. Another man says it's impressive to be able to stop criminals without killing them. Yeon is truly the young dragon, the dragon who represents honor and justice. People rejoice at the appearance of this knightly dragon. Some people think that this means that the elixir of heaven's ascension is still in the possession of the disciple king, which will be great news for Chief Sa Tai-chek. Young expresses disappointment. He can't believe that such weak people are causing problems in such a dangerous place as Murim. Kwon and his men turned out to be much weaker than Young expected. However, Yeon is sure that supreme martial artists or incredible people must be somewhere in Murim. You never know. The child and the old man whom Young accidentally met on the road could be the cause of the problem in this world filled with violence. Well, Young thinks, but not the worthless and weak ones he contacted yesterday. Young notices something and sighs. He tells whoever is hiding to come out now. The men hiding behind the trees note that Young is much younger than they expected. Another says Yeon looks fragile and weak. Young asks them who they are. One of the men asks Yeon if he has anything healthy. He asks if Yeon is willing to share it with people as pathetic and weak as them. Their leader arrives and addresses Yeon as the disciple of the Tyrant King of the Phantom Armor. Yeon gets very annoyed and tells them that he already said that he is not the disciple of the Tyrant King of the Phantom Armor. The leader tells Yeon that there is always someone better and then attacks him. He suggests that Yeon try to use his ridiculous technique to defend against the attack. However, Young responds by punching the leader hard in the face and throwing him to the ground. Yeon looks back at the leader's followers, and they all act scared, lying on the ground as if they were injured to avoid being attacked by Yeon. Yeon thinks he doesn't need to spare their lives, but since he already destroyed their energy sources, they probably won't be able to take revenge. Yeon then muses that now that he has become a martial artist, he will not be able to avoid shedding blood. Meanwhile, somewhere a village is burning. A man who sits on his knees and cries, begs for someone to save his life, mentioning that he has a wife and children. However, the other man refuses and attacks, killing him. The man tells the lifeless body that he shouldn't have crossed his path, and that's why he had to destroy the entire village because it upset him so much. This person is the Fist Demon, the twin brother of the Palm Demon. Someone approaches the Fist Demon and tells him that they have no time to waste. They must find the Tyrant King's disciple in the Phantom Armor before he arrives in Nangong. This person is the Palm Demon. Fist Demon urges Palm Demon not to worry, saying that he is almost certain that the disciple has not yet reached Luoyang. Palm Demon asks Fist Demon how he knows this. Fist Demon replies that he has good instincts. Palm Demon finds it surprising that Fist Demon himself says this. They leave, and behind them remains a destroyed village. In the forest, Young calmly drinks tea with the men. One of them informs him that to get to Luoyang, he just needs to keep walking in that direction for about another half day. The man invites them to travel together as they are heading in the same direction. Young agrees, thinking it's nice to have friends. He hopes that this will put an end to the pesky troublemakers following him. Yeon also genuinely wonders who the current disciple of the Tyrant King in the Phantom Armor is. Suddenly there is a huge explosion that shakes the surrounding area. Young acts quickly to ensure the safety of the men accompanying him. They gratefully thank him for his quick response. Young advises them to leave the place immediately due to the existing danger. The Fist Demon and the Palm Demon arrive. Fist Demon addresses Palm Demon, confirming that his previous prediction was indeed accurate. The Tyrant King's disciple in the Phantom Armor has not yet arrived in Luoyang. Yeon's voice rises as he yells at them, revealing that he is not the disciple of the tyrant king of the Phantom Armor. Demon Fist asks if Yan expects them to believe his words. The Palm Demon, on the other hand, admires Yan's courage to speak to them so boldly. He explains that they are known as the Fist Palm Twin Demons, notorious villains from previous generations. These two were very bad criminals who liked to hurt people and kill for no reason. They became enemies of the Murim world and angered many people. But they were elusive because of their skill and animal instincts. Palm Demon explains that they planned to take a break until they reached a certain level, but they heard that Yang had the elixir of heaven's ascension. In response, Yan quickly kicks the Palm Demon, causing it to fall to the ground. The Fist Demon angrily scolds Yan, accusing him of cowardly attacking. He then tries to attack Yan. Yan realizes that the Fist Demon's attack is fast but straightforward, presenting an opportunity for him to close the gap. However, the Fist Demon lands a powerful blow on Yan, causing him great pain. Yang realizes that if it weren't for his armor, the Fist Demon could have ripped out Yang's heart. Demon Fist ridicules Yan, calling him a fool and asking if Yan believes he can anticipate the quick movements of Demon Fist's snake strike. The Palm Demon intervenes, telling Yang that he is not protected. He activates his cannon shot palm and attacks Yang. However, when the dust settles, it becomes clear that Yan was unaffected by the attack. Palm Demon suggests that Yan is not an ordinary child. The Fist Demon suggests ending the confrontation as quickly as possible, and the Palm Demon notes that there hasn't been such an interesting goal for a long time. Yang realizes that both the Fist Demon and the Palm Demon are very skilled fighters, but they have similar fighting styles. The Fist Demon attacks Yan, telling him that regret won't help now. He activates his powerful Death Hurricane Fist technique. Yang realizes that he can't just dodge because the Palm Demon is waiting to attack him. Palm Demon notices that Yan is intentionally leading Fist Demon's attack in a different direction from his own. Yan also uses footwork that Palm Demon has never seen before. However, the Palm Demon doesn't allow a young man like Yan to make a fool of him. He activates his cannon shot palm and attacks Yang. Yan runs after the Fist Demon. The Fist Demon asks if Yan thinks he can survive by just hiding behind him. He activates his quick snake lunge technique and attacks Yang, thinking that this is the end. But Yan manages to kick Demon Fist so hard that he coughs up blood. The Palm Demon yells at Yang, demanding to know what he did to the Fist Demon. Yang shows the knife in his boot and says that the twins were overtaken by karma for killing innocent people. The demon tells Yan to be quiet and attacks him, threatening to crush Yan into fine dust, saying that the elixir of heaven's ascension has no meaning. Palm Demon uses its powerful cannon shot palm attack, striking Yan at full force, sending him flying. The demon scolds Yan for such arrogant behavior, believing that Yan turned to dust along with the elixir of ascension to heaven. However, to his surprise, Yan suddenly flies down from above, asking who turned to dust. The demon angrily asks Yan when he went into a jump. Yan advises them that if they want to save their lives, they should surrender now. Demon Palm warns Yang that even with Qinggong, he won't be able to dodge this attack. He screams, palm cannon shot, and attacks Yan. In response, Yan uses the spin kick technique to counterattack the opponent. The Palm Demon falls to the ground, blood pouring from its mouth. Fist Demon then asks Yang if he thinks he is any different from them. He states that the smaller number of people Yan killed, compared to the Fist Palm Demons, does not change the fact that Yan will eventually become addicted to killing and obsessed with it, just like them. Fist Demon ominously tells Yan that he will see him in hell and falls lifeless. With a mouthful of blood, Yang counters that they don't know for sure. Yang looks around the area, suspecting that someone is secretly watching him. He calls upon the hidden observer to reveal himself. The hider apologizes, admitting that he may have stumbled upon it by accident. He admits that he had the urge to help, but Yan's fighting skills were so dominant and impressive that he felt obligated to just watch. Yang wonders why the observer chose to remain passive rather than intervene. The man expresses sincere regret and offers to do everything to make amends, seeking Yang's forgiveness. Inwardly, Yan theorizes that the man may be affiliated with the Orthodox faction based on his polite manners and knowledge of martial arts observation etiquette. The columnist praises Yan for his remarkable skills, expressing surprise that he was able to single-handedly defeat the notorious criminal mercenaries, the Fist Palm Twin Demons. Yan is puzzled by the mention of a reward. He asks for clarification and asks if the government actually gave a reward to the criminals. The man confirms this, explaining that despite all efforts, the authorities were unable to apprehend these criminals and bring them to justice. Yang asks the man if he remembers saying he would do whatever Yang asked. He tells the man that in that case he should go and report this to the government. Luoyang first. The man gratefully grabs Yang's hand and thanks him for his forgiveness. He introduces himself as Yoon Taeho and promises to inform the government about what happened. Yeon introduces himself as Yeon Havitai and tells Yoon that they can meet again if fate allows it. At the Luoyang Provincial Government Office, a man offers Yeon a bag of gold and says that it was a great honor for him to personally meet the famous Night Dragon. Yeon is surprised and asks, "Nightly Dragon?" He wonders when people started calling him such a scary name. Yeon takes the bag of gold and asks if it is a reward for the twin demons of Fist and Palm. The man confirms this and mentions that there is about 1 gold nyang in the bag. Yeon mentally calculates that a typical commoner's monthly expenses are about 1 silver nyang, and 1 gold nyang is equal to about 100 silver nyangs, so that's a lot. He is impressed that Yoon Taeho kept his promise. As Yeon leaves, he reflects on his expectations for wuxia stories, which feature the ancient Ming dynasty and often mention buildings. However, he is surprised to discover that this world is completely different. He had never heard of the Jun Kingdom's attempt to unify the Central Plain. This world is more developed and civilized than he imagined. While taking a bath, Yeon expresses satisfaction that he has found a technique that combines charm and magic, which is what he was looking for. He notes that the place is more like a fantasy world than the wuxia world he expected. Yeon expects that he will learn more as he travels through this world. At night, while Yeon is sleeping, someone enters his room and is looking for something. He checks to see if Yeon is sleeping. The man gets upset, muttering that it definitely happened here. He wonders where Yeon hid it. Yeon suddenly spoke up, advising the man not to steal. With skillful precision, Yeon blocks a person's acupuncture points. The person cannot move his body. Yeon asks him if he found what he was looking for, and Yoon Taeho addresses him. Yoon Taeho is surprised and asks how Yeon knew it was him. Yeon responds by saying that he knew it from the moment Yoon put the tracking scent on him when they shook hands earlier. Yeon informs Yoon that he must be mistaken in thinking that Yeon is the disciple of the Tyrant King Phantom Armor. Yeon changes the subject, telling Yoon that now that he caught him red-handed, his life is in Yeon's hands. Yeon offers Yoon a choice. He can either face death at Yeon's hands or reveal his true identity. Yoon taunts Yeon, wondering if Yeon, the Night Dragon, will harm him. He asks if Yeon thinks it will scare him. Yeon warns Yoon that he still doesn't seem to understand the gravity of his situation. He asks if Yoon thinks that Yeon is incapable of resorting to torture. Yeon then explains that he's giving Yoon a chance right now. Yoon is now very scared, and asks if Yeon is really the Dragon Knight of the Orthodox sect, and questions how he could engage in such activities. Yeon denies these rumors, explaining that it is a coincidence that the people who attacked him were all villains. Yeon tells Yoon that he will now bring the scissors to begin the torture. Yoon begs Yeon not to torture him, saying that he will do as Yeon says. Yeon decides to take off Yoon's mask first. Yoon asks him to wait a minute, but Yeon continues and takes off his mask. To Yeon's surprise, he discovers that Yoon is a woman under the mask. This discovery shocks him. The woman asks if Yeon has any complaints about her real identity. Yeon reflects on how the handsome guy he met in the wuxia novel turned out to be a woman. Yeon thinks about what to do next. The woman, fearing that Yeon might kill her or put her in jail, decides that she should take action. She asks Yeon if he knows who she is. Yeon asks about her identity, and she reveals that her mother is the leader of the Hao clan. Yeon bursts out laughing, finding what the woman said incredibly absurd. He wonders why she was pretending to be a member of one of the 3 great clans of Luoyang. The woman angrily protests that she is serious, and insists that her mother is indeed the leader of the Hao clan. She warns Yeon that if he tries to harm her, she will kill him. Yeon reassures her, saying that he believes her. The woman is surprised and asks if he sincerely trusts her. Yeon explains that normally in such a situation no one would impersonate the young leader of the Hao clan. If she really is the clan leader's daughter, then what she did was a mistake. The woman asks what Yeon means by mistake. Yeon informs her that thanks to her actions, he now has something he can use to control the situation over the Hao clan. Luoyang Pavilion is one of the 3 most famous buildings in Luoyang. It is known as a brothel, but what made it famous was a special wine called magic wine. Many influential and famous people visited this place. However, there is a secret of Luoyang Pavilion that only a few know about. It serves as the headquarters of the Hao clan. Yeon enters Luoyang Pavilion with this woman. Hao clan leader Yoon Seolhyun greets Yeon. Yeon expresses admiration for Seolhyun's composure, even though her own daughter is being held hostage. Seolhyun asks Yeon if he is threatening her at this point. Yeon suggests they stop acting and be honest with each other. He asks Seolhyun if she expected him to grab her daughter. Seolhyun asks why Yeon thinks that. Yeon explains that her daughter Yoon Biwa has been a kleptomaniac since childhood, but this was the first time she had stolen so boldly. Yeon tells Seol-hyun that it wouldn't make sense if the clan leader didn't know about it. He explains that Biwa was able to hide, while the villains were chasing him because she had people from the Hao clan helping her there. Yeon also notes that it was Seol-hyun who spread the rumor that he was the Tyrant King's disciple. Seol-hyun responds by saying that Young's guess is a little far-fetched. Young raises his voice, telling her not to pretend she doesn't know. He explains that the only organizations capable of spreading rumors so quickly are the beggars and the Hao clan. He adds that the proof is her daughter, who was captured by Yeon. Biwa intervenes, shouting that this isn't fair. Seol-hyun starts laughing and praising Young, calling him amazing. She recognizes that Yeon, a descendant of the Golden Tiger Wall, has exceptional abilities. Young realizes that Seol-hyun has figured out his past and is annoyed by how she is spreading false information about him. He asks Seol-hyun how she plans to compensate him for this. Seol-hyun asks Yeon if he wonders why she did such things. Young replies that of course he's curious, but he doesn't want to get into more trouble. He tells Seol-hyun that if she compensates for the losses he suffered, he will act as if it never happened. Seol-hyun comments that Young acts like the leader of the Golden Tiger Wall and praises his speaking skills. She asks him what he wants. Yeon explains his two requests. First, if the Golden Tiger Wall asks for help from the Hao clan, they must provide assistance at least once. Secondly, Young asks for the Azure Wolf Tablet. Seol-hyun gets angry and asks if Young thinks she's stupid. She believes these conditions are too complex to compensate. Young counters by saying that the Hao clan caused him 3 significant losses. First, they spread false rumors, causing many people to chase him. Secondly, it strained his relationship with the Tyrant King of the Phantom Armor, one of the top 100 martial artists. The latest loss occurred when her daughter tried to steal from Yeon in his room. Seol-hyun gets angry and wonders how a young man like Yeon, an outstanding martial artist, can radiate so much pressure and bloodlust. She realizes that the information about Yeon was wrong from the beginning. Although Seol-hyun is just at the beginning of her peak, she didn't expect someone Yeon's age to be so formidable. She admits her mistake and says that she should have found out about Yeon's level before taking any action. Seol-hyun asks Young about the last condition. Young says it's not a big deal. He asks her to provide him with a list of Jianghu's top 100 martial artists. Seol-hyun asks why if Young plans to challenge each of them to a fight. Young confirms this, saying that he needs this experience. Seol-hyun admits that a rising martial artist like Yeon could benefit from such challenges. She also reveals that it is true that the Tyrant King's disciple in the Phantom Armor possesses the elixir of heavenly ascension and plans to give it to the Nangong clan. Seol-hyun informs Yeon that she was asked to ensure his safe arrival and was paid a large sum for it. Young understands and asks her why she is telling him this. Seol-hyun apologizes for involving Yeon in this incident. Young says he's fine as long as he gets compensated and doesn't want to dwell on it. Regarding his daughter's misdeeds, Young hopes that Seol-hyun will punish her severely. Biwa protests and asks why she should be punished. Yeon realizes that being on the list of the top 100 martial artists is a good deal. He reads the name of the rank 85 martial artist, Dam Hoge, and feels happy that Hoge is nearby. Yeon decides that he must fight Hoge. Although Hoge is ranked among the top 100 martial artists, the world pays more attention to his eccentricities than his martial arts skills. Hoge is known for his eccentricity, especially his obsession with discussing topics such as names. Rumor has it that if you can satisfy Hoge with your words, he may give you a token, called a beggar's tablet, which proves your connection to the beggar sect. However, no one ever received this plaque. Yeon greets Hoge and introduces himself as Yeon Hwitae, a newcomer to the Murim world. He pays homage to Dame Hoge of the beggar sect. Hoge asks Young if he came to share interesting stories with him. Young confirms this and claims that he knows many stories that Hoge has never heard of before. Hoge boasts that he has heard most of the stories in the world, but is intrigued by the prospect of hearing something new. However, he warns that if Young's stories turn out to be ordinary, he will punish him. Feeling the pressure, Young realizes that Hoge is an incredibly skilled martial artist. He ponders what stories he should use to entice Hoge. Young gets excited thinking about sharing stories about wuxia and offers to continue their conversation at the hotel. Hoge insists that he won't drink with Young until he recognizes him as a real guy. Narrator. Later, they find themselves in a cozy hotel. Hoge, eager to hear the continuation of the monkey story, questions Yeon's abrupt pause. Yeon playfully teases Hoge, telling him there is more to the story and urging him to enjoy the delicious food. Hoge, losing patience, demands that Young continue the story. Young is secretly pleased. His strategy seems to be working. He understands that any martial artist would love the famous story of Journey to the West. He debates whether to ask for sparring in exchange for this story. With a mischievous grin, Jan finally asks the question. Hoga firmly states that for such a short story, sharing the beggar sign, the symbol of the beggar sect, is out of the question. Young reassures him by mentioning that he has a treasure trove of fascinating stories that he has yet to tell. Meanwhile, at the next table, a man invites a lady to join him at the table, while the lady resists. The lady asks him to release her, and asks about his behavior, expressing obvious disinterest. Sitting with him, Jan sighs, realizing that situations like this are common in wuxia tales, men hitting on women while drunk, just like in their previous life. The man continues to boast about his identity, claiming to be the young leader of the Shintai sect. He insists that the lady should feel flattered that he has shown interest in her. Young can't help but intervene, chastising the man for his pathetic behavior. Angry, the man warns Young, asking if he's looking for trouble. Suddenly, the lady takes matters into her own hands and slaps the man. Furious, he demands to know if she knows who he is. In response, the lady reminds him that he claimed to be the young leader of the Shintai sect and delivers another loud slap, calling him an immature and spoiled brat. The leader of Shintai's group called the woman rudely and drew his sword. Leader's followers insult woman. The woman asks them who made her sit with the leader even when she said no. She calls them all bad people. The leader tries to hit the woman with his sword, so a woman defends herself from an attack. Hogue tells Jan that he doesn't think this woman is weak at all. Jan feels like he's seen things like this before. Scoundrels harass women and get punched in the face. The leader, whose attack is blocked, wonders why the woman is so strong. The man in the back tells the leader to stop waiting and just get rid of her quickly, but this man is kicked and he falls. Hoge stands over him and says he can't believe two grown men are attacking a woman. Hoge tells them that they should regret what they did. The fallen man yells at Hoge and tells him to stay out of it. Hoge throws another person from the leader's group into the air, and he collides with their leader, causing them both to fall to the ground. The fallen man yells at Hoge again, saying that he not only hit their young leader, but also knocked out his friend. The man tells Hoge that he made a big mistake and asks if he thinks the Shintai sect will let him get away with it. Hogue replies that they are the ones who made a big mistake and wonders if they will know who the woman is, even after seeing the design on her iron fan. She is a direct descendant of the Zhuge clan, Zhuge Manhwa. The man gets scared and asks for confirmation. Did he really say Zhuge clan? The Manhwa woman asks Hoge how he could recognize her after seeing the pattern on her iron fan. Hoge says that the elder of the beggar ladies sect Hoge has no problem finding out. Manhwa greets Hoge and says it's nice to meet him, addressing him as Sir Dame Hoge. She says her name is Zhuge Manhwa and she is new to traveling Murim. She mentions that she has heard about Hoge and his excellent reputation. Hoge tells her not to worry about it as it's not that impressive. Manhwa expresses his gratitude to Hoge for his help. Hoge asks her why she is traveling alone if she knows martial arts. He is concerned that if she were to face a very experienced martial artist, she might be in trouble. Manhwa explains that although the Zhuge clan is not known for their martial arts skills, they excel in traps, devices, and academia. They also practice various types of magic. She mentions that if she meets a martial artist she can't handle, she will be able to summon a hungry golem, which is only taught to the direct descendants of the clan. Depending on the situation, she can also use space control magic. Young realizes that Manhwa is skilled in magic and even knows summoning magic. He's thinking about teaching himself if he ever gets the chance. Young asks if one of these people claimed to be the young leader of the Shintai sect. Hoge wants to know why Young is asking and if he is worried. Young responds by asking why he would worry. Hoge chuckles and admits that he may have made a mistake. He assures Young that the Zhuge clan, one of the 5 great clans, will not be afraid of a small sect like Shintai. Hoge informs Young that, as a direct descendant of one of the 10 largest trading clans, Golden Tiger Wall, Yan has nothing to worry about either. Manhwa excitedly asks Yan if he is the son of the leader of the Golden Tiger Wall. Yan privately believes that all the female character types found in wuxia stories are present here. He wonders if this place is the real world of Murim or just a virtual one. If it's virtual, then are all the people he's met and talked to fake too? Hoji notices Young's behavior and asks what happened. Young smiles and says that if the cliché still happens, he should deal with it. Now, Hoge is puzzled and asks, what kind of cliché? In the Shintai sect, a young leader lies on a bed with a red mark on his face. Shintai sect leader Kang Seokju stands next to his son and angrily asks who dared to harm him. He asks his followers to find out who did this. The man explains that the young leader was relaxing at the hotel when this happened. Seokju is surprised and asks, at the hotel? Who is guilty? The man tells him that it was a woman, presumably from the Zhuge clan, an old man who seems to be from the beggar sect, and an unknown young man. Seokju is worried because he knows that the Juga clan is one of the 5 most powerful clans, and the beggar sect is also involved. He clenched his teeth, wondering what to do in this situation. Seokju decides that they must retaliate since the young leader of their sect was attacked. However, he realizes that the Shintai sect is not strong enough to fight both Juge and the Juge clan and beggar sect. Seokju asks the man about the last person involved, but he doesn't know all the information. He says that it looks like this man, Yon, met Juge for the first time. The man adds that it seems like he just recently met a member of the beggar sect. Hearing this, Seokju smirks, thinking that the last person must not be that important. Seokju orders the man to find the last person and bring him here. However, the man hesitates and suggests that he deal with this person first before taking action. Seokju disagrees, stating that even if a person has connections, he is still a better choice than the other two. Since they do not know each other well, it will not be easy for them to interfere in their affairs. Seokju firmly orders the man to bring this guy here immediately and asks if he understands. Additionally, Seokju informs his man that if Young resists, he should beat him severely. Suddenly they are attacked with rocks, and Seokju and his man wonder what it is. In the midst of the chaos, Yon appears and delivers a powerful blow to the man's face. This action enrages all of Seokju's people, who demand to know how Yon dares to cause trouble in this place. They try to attack Yon, warning him that he won't be able to leave here alive. In the midst of the confrontation, Young thinks to himself that clichés are best when they are subverted. Yon operates using his martial arts techniques, first with a left hook, and then with a right hook, which allows him to strike and defeat all of Seokju's men. These people come towards him with swords, threatening to kill him. Young's body is filled with internal energy that he cultivates, capable of delivering even a standard blow. Incredibly destructive. When this internal energy is channeled by a supreme martial artist like Yon, it becomes as powerful as a cannon. With just one blow, Yon sends all of Seokju's men back. Seokju arrives on the scene brandishing his sword. He questions Yon about the chaos he unleashed on his territory and asks whether the First Blood sect instigated Yon's actions. Seokju then attacks Young with his sword. Yon defends himself from the attack using his glove. Seokju notices Young's unique glove and comments on it. He then launches another attack, inviting Yon to block it. Seokju uses a technique called Blood Demon Crane Kick and stabs Yon. However, Young skillfully dodges the attack and counters with a powerful roundhouse kick. This causes Seokju to crash into a wall. Seokju realizes that Young destroyed his energy core with a simple kick. He demands to know who Yon is. Young doesn't answer Seokju's question and instead looks the other way. Annoyed, Seokju calls out to Yon, asking if he's ignoring him. He orders Young to stop right there. However, Young's attention is drawn to a painting in the room. He notes that he can't tell if they're creative or not, and questions Seokju about why he hid the money vault behind such an obvious painting in his room. Seokju grinds his teeth in frustration. A series of attacks by an unknown man begin, targeting various sects, starting with the Shintai sect. This unknown guy who single-handedly defeated all the sects and easily took their hidden gold. Among the things he took were secret books containing records of terrible crimes and smuggling. These recordings were reported to the government. All the sects that were attacked, including the Shintai sect, suffered despite things going well before. People began to call this unknown man the divine thief with a knight's fist, because he was like a good thief who used his fists. It doesn't matter. But it is said that rumors about this divine Night Fist were spread by the Hao clan and the beggar sect. Seolyeon thought that this might be enough to pay off her debt to Yong Huitai. After the rumors about the Night Fist divine thief died down, something happened. Yeon asks Lady Manhwa why she is following them, and she says that it seems funny. Yeon wonders why Manhwa is acting like a child, and tells her that he is going to spar with Sir Dame Hogue soon, so she should leave. Manhwa then asks, maybe it's not official, but since it's still sparring, isn't it Yeon? Do you need a witness for this? She says that as a direct descendant of the Juga clan, she is more than worthy of being a second. Manhwa thinks to himself that he can't miss something so interesting. Hogue agrees, and mentions that the witness being a direct descendant of the Juga clan would be a good idea. Young interrupts, asking Hogue to wait a little. He explains that since this is informal sparring, there is no need to show off your martial arts skills to others. Privately, he decides not to let Manhwa have his way. Hogue agrees that Yeon's point also makes sense. Manhwa mentally calls Yeon a stupid man, and wonders how he dares to use strategies against the Juga clan. She then asks Hogue if he knows someone named Gu Jiam. Hogue confirms that he knows about him, mentioning that Gu Jiam was the first storyteller to receive an audience with the emperor. Manhwa tells Hoge that the Juga clan is well acquainted with Gu Jiam. She offers to arrange a meeting between Hoge and Gu Jiam if he is interested. Hoge expresses his interest and appreciates the kindness of the Juga clan. Manhwa then asks Hoge if this means he will allow her to witness their fight. Hoge confirms and assures her that she can watch as much as she wants. Manhwa thanks Hoge and looks at Yeon with a satisfied smile as if she had won. Yeon's expression shows his confusion about Manhwa's behavior. Either way, both Young and Hoge prepare to spar. Hoge informs Yeon that he uses a staff in his martial arts, called the dog-beating technique, which can only be learned by a sect leader or successor. Hoge then asks Yeon about the martial arts of the famous Dragon Knight. Yeon takes time to think about what name he should give to his martial art. He remembers thinking about one thing when he was young and fighting with a beggar. Yeon responds to Hoge by saying that the martial arts he uses are called boxing techniques. He explains that, as the name suggests, combat primarily uses the fist. It is known to be fast and powerful. He adds that this martial art has been developed for a long time in another country, and its effectiveness depends on how a person interprets it. He reveals that the move he uses was actually created by himself. Hoge comments that it is a simple name, but such a martial art may be even scarier than it seems. He confirms that he is ready and asks Young if he is ready too. Young assures him that he is ready too. Manhwa suggests that, as a member of the Juga clan, she will witness their quarrel. She explains that the winner will be determined when one of them gives up or faints. She emphasizes that any actions intended to cause serious harm are not tolerated, and attacks that could endanger the life of another person should be avoided. She suggests they start sparring. Hoge takes a certain stance, and Young tries to attack him. Young thinks to himself that he will finally meet one of the top 100 martial artists in the world, Murim. He hadn't been this excited for a long time. Hoge strikes with his staff, and Yeon successfully defends against it. Manhwa notes that the sparring is going even better than she expected. Yeon launches an attack. Hoge blocks it, and then Hoge responds with an attack of his own, which Yeon blocks in return. Hoge jumps down to attack Yeon from above, but Yeon skillfully dodges the attack.